And March Dimes time to talk about some March Dimes, Bill.
And it is right around the corner. The big March for Babies is June 18th. And, of course, joining us is Greg Carroll. Thanks for being here, Greg.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Brought some guests. And,
very good. Glad you're always kind of our connection to what's going on.
I like to be that. I like to be a connector.
He's Mr. Incredible.
Yeah, Mr. Incredible.
There it is. You took my picture down. You must have done some cleaning.
I don't know how that happened.
I put it up in my house.
Oh, okay. I'll come autograph that.
Okay,
for you.
all right, okay.
But, yeah, as you said, it's that time. We're a little bit later this year than what we've been in the past. We chose to kind of go a little later in the spring still. Yeah. So that's good news. It's not summer yet, June 18th, but almost there. And our big event, our 5K, to actually get out, support our mission. We're focused on improving the lives of babies through reducing infant mortality, through the work of really reducing premature birth, and also through that work, birth defects. And so when people come out and support our mission, come out and walk, run if you want. We have a run and walk, and we can talk about that a little bit
do
more.
both?
Do a little bit both. A lot of fun. Last year was about, Bill, you were out there. Must have been about 1,000 people.
Yeah, they just kept coming. It was a great crowd.
They did.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Kept running in.
They did. And that has to feel good to know that this event gets that kind of local support.
It does. It feels great. And, the reason why we do it, it's a health benefit, but it's really to support people in the community. And I want to make sure that I give time to people in the community. So I actually brought our ambassador family for this year, our 2016 ambassador family, the mountains. And I think the important thing is I want people to know their story, but I also want them to know that they're my neighbor.
Oh,
and
wow.
Their daughter is friends with my daughter.
Okay.
Both their daughters.
Yeah.
And so whenever I heard their story, my wife actually said, "You really got to tell that story." And I went, "Yeah, we need to tell that story." So I kind of want to turn it over to them and let them talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so introduce them. So this came about just because you knew them already, so that is kind of a strange way to find your ambassador family. I know you're always on the lookout for people who want to share that story that's not always easy to tell.
Right,
and it made it a little bit easier because there are people that were nearby already.
Well, and I think we know each other better now than we ever did know. Yeah. And it was one of those times when my middle daughter came home and started kind of telling me some things, and I went, wow. And my wife said, you need to know more about that. And it's one of those things too, I've experienced that in the past, and I said, when the time's right, we'll get together. And it just seemed like the time was right this year to kind of tell that story. So I'm going to let Mark and Amanda kind of speak a little bit more about
Mark and Amanda, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.
So you're the ambassador family for this year. And so share with us, how did this come about where you have a story to tell that relates to March of Dimes?
Yeah, it's one of those things. I don't think anybody ever really wants to be an ambassador family. Nobody sets out with that goal in mind. But it was really having to do with who we were. It seems like a long time ago for us. Our daughter's now 12, well, 12 and a half, wow.
Wow.
And so it seems like in a lot of ways we're past all of that. We're beyond it. And but thinking about it, really trying to figure out, do we want to tell this story again to people we don't know? We've kind of come to peace with it in a lot of ways, but knowing that, we need to share this and help people understand.
And Amanda, how was this for you?
I enjoy telling our story. It always feels like we're honoring our kids when we do, and honoring the people that really stood by us and helped us. 13 years ago, we had no clue that the March of Dimes would be an important part of our life. We found out we were having triplets.
Wow.
And so that in itself was an adventure, trying to figure out how our life would change. At about 21 weeks, I went into preterm labor. We were living in Michigan at the time, and I was hospitalized. At about 22 weeks, our first son was born. His name's Landon, and he lived for about a day. He was 1 pound, and he was just too little. But it was pretty amazing. The doctors said, basically at this point, that I needed to relax, and that they would be able to stop my labor. That was their goal. And so I was hospitalized again for about another month.
Wow.
And at that point, they couldn't control my labor anymore. And so that was when Kate and Connor were born. Kate was 1 pound 14 ounces, and Connor was 2'1". Again, fortunately, we were at a hospital that had a NICU, so it was right in our town. But it was a long journey. And so they were in the NICU for about 10 and a half weeks. Kate was just getting bigger and stronger and healthier, and Connor was doing really well. We were anticipating bringing them both home, and then he ended up with an infection, and his lungs were just compromised, and he could not fight that any longer. But it was an amazing experience. We had nurses and doctors and just all sorts of friends, family support that you would never be able to understand, I guess, just how much support we had. And then it was after that that we realized really what the March of Dimes did. In the middle of in the middle of our crisis, we didn't really understand all the research and all of the information that they were responsible for giving to the doctors and the nurses. So we definitely appreciate the March of Dimes.
And Greg, maybe you can help us in this kind of, when you hear a story like this, your heart goes out and say, well, I want to help people who are in that situation, but it's not a situation where if we're not friends or relatives, how would you know what was needed? And that's really where March of Dimes comes through in some of those ways that you may not realize until after the fact.
That's right. Excuse me, as we talk about supporting the March of Dimes, of course, we need people's donations. And what does that do? Well, it goes to help children survive. That's what it's here. That's what we do. I mean, when Amanda talks about NICUs, that was developed through research and development from March of Dimes some time back. Before that, we cured polio.
Yeah.
I think it's still an important thing for us to say. We cured polio.
Right.
We're one of the only we are the only nonprofit in history to actually achieve a mission and go on to do more. But what you're doing when you support the March Dimes is you're supporting research, local programming, and whenever you reach out to your neighbors, you're going to find you're supporting neighbors. The great thing is we're working to bring down the rate of prematurity, and we're doing that. Just 3 years ago in Illinois, the rate was 1 in 8 babies were born preterm. Now it's 1 in 10.
Wow.
So we're getting better. We're bringing that rate down, but it's still a big number that's out there. Last year alone, over 1,600 children were born too soon in Illinois, which equates to, unfortunately, nearly 1,000 of them passed away before their first birth because prematurity is the #1 cause of infant mortality. So coming out and supporting the March of Dimes, or if you can't be there, still supporting the March of Dimes, you're making a difference in people's lives. And I'm going to tell you, if you've got 10 neighbors and they've got children, there's somebody there. There's somebody there that's been affected. And something I really want to key in on is the mountain story is it's just almost, I couldn't get over it.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's unbelievable because it is true, but I couldn't get over it. And I have a degree in pre-med.
Yeah.
And I went, that can happen? But then I found out, because I do work in other communities too, and I found out that actually, since the time that happened to them, 2 other ambassador families I've worked with, it's happened to them too, but it's been in between, and this story gets a little stronger, better. 2 of the 3 children survived for one family. All 3 children survived in the last couple of years. So we're making a difference. And the work we're doing and what people do to support us is making a big difference in really achieving our mission again.
Wow.
So,
well, Amanda and Mark, thank you so much for having the courage and having just the strength to share the story. That's pretty amazing to be able to talk about it. It's hard for me to imagine being in the situation, let alone being able to come on the radio and share that.
Right.
Pretty amazing.
Right. And, like Mark, like you said, you had to kind of come to terms with, okay, do we kind of reopen this again, even though we've come to peace with it? It's been several years now, but knowing that, your story can touch the lives of others and and help to possibly raise funds for. Thank you, because I know it's got to be a tough thing. I think it's kind of the difference between men and women. I think with women are wanting, like you said, Amanda, you want to tell the story because it's part of your life. It's part of your history. And we as women, we like to kind of communicate things. And for men, sometimes it's a little bit harder to, want to, okay, we've moved past this.
We've moved past that.
Yeah. But thank you so much for coming and telling the story because it's an important one to tell.
I agree. I agree wholehearily.
Give us the event again coming up June 18th.
June 18th. What should people be doing, Greg?
Well, go on to March of Dimes website. You can go to marchofdimes.org and find all the information. There's other websites that you can get to quicker. You can go to marchforbabies.org /event/Kankakee, and that's our March registration site.
Okay.
Now, the cool thing is we're the only one in the state, the only walk, and there's about 20 that happen in the state of Illinois that actually has a sanctioned run.
Okay.
So if you're a runner, you can go to runforbabies.org /Bourbonnais, because it actually happens at Perry Farm Park in Bourbonnais, or you can just go to runforbabies.org and click on Bourbonnais. But if you're a runner, you can go out there and get registered, and there's a minimum fee to be chipped, timed. You get a T-shirt, backpack, photo finish. We'll probably be out there first, Bill.
Yeah, but, we'll be right there.
But you can either come out and run, or you can be a walker and fundraise through either website. If you come out and walk, if you fundraise and bring out $100 that you've raised, you'll get a T-shirt as well.
Cool.
So, we want people to come out and have fun, but we want them to know why they're having fun.
Yeah, and it's a great morning. And if you haven't done it before, definitely encourage you to come out and be part of it. And you'll both be there, I would assume.
We will. Yes.
Very good. Very good. Look forward to being able to share your story, being able to meet other people in the community, and you'll meet a lot of them there. There's just a great big crowd.
It is.
And as this event has grown.
Yeah, and I hope it'll be a bright sunny day like last year, and blue skies and a lot of fun and a lot of purple shirts.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of purple.
Yeah.
No doubt about that.
Yeah.
Greg, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And Amanda and Mark, thank you for sharing with us this morning and taking the time to be here.
Thank you.